What is going on, you guys? Michael Elefante here. If you guys are new to my channel, the overarching theme here is financial freedom. And what is the fastest path for you to achieve financial freedom? Financial freedom meaning that you have enough passive or residual income coming in every single month that exceeds your monthly living expenses or your desired lifestyle. First of all, why is this important? Society normally trains us to go get a nice, safe, secure job that pays well and has good benefits. And while there's nothing wrong with that, and honestly that's what the majority of the population does, there is no fallback plan. What happens if you lose that job? What happens if you get fired or the company dissolves? Or maybe you just do not enjoy working that job to a point where you'd rather do something else. If you're financially free, you have income coming in every single month, regardless what you're doing with your time. So whether that's through real estate, through dividend stocks, through businesses that you create and own, money's coming in every month to where if you lose that job or choose to no longer work, you can still have money to fund, your desired lifestyle and certainly pay for all of the living expenses that you have every single month. That, my friends, is financial security. So how do you get there? Especially if you're just starting out and don't have very much money saved up. Let's touch on the 3 pillars to getting started. Pillar number 1 is to budget every single month and save as much as you can. Now, this leads us to pillar number 2, which is to focus on your earnings. Figure out a way to increase your income every single month. Now, the reason number 1 is important is because we need to be relatively frugal and to save our money so we can fund our future investments that will set us financially free. But the truth of the matter is, for most people, we're not going to save our way to financial freedom. So that's why pillar number 2 is to focus on your earnings. It's going to expedite the time it takes you to accumulate excess money in order to fund your investments. Which leads us to pillar number 3, which is investing your money in assets, things like real estate or rental properties, the stock market, investing in companies or businesses that are going to grow over time and either pay you in the form of dividends quarterly, or you're going to reap the benefits of having that money compound and grow. Regardless what asset you decide to put your money in, it's important that you invest in things that you believe in and that they will support your journey to financial freedom. That's why I'm very biased toward investing in real estate, especially short-term vacation rental properties. A lot of my videos are centered around that because investing in those properties, you drastically increase your cash flow potential and the ROI on every single dollar invested, and it will expedite your journey to financial freedom. It did for me and my wife, at least. We invested in our first short-term rental property, listed it on Airbnb, and then less than 12 months later, we became financially free, which was far faster than we ever thought possible. Now, for the sake of this video, we're gonna be focused on pillar number 2, which is to focus on your earnings. So how can you guys increase your income every single year? So there's 3 key ways that you can increase the amount of money that you have coming in each month, or at least 3 overarching themes here. Number 1 is to work more hours. This can be through side hustling. It can be through your current day job if you're allowed to work overtime. So you put in more time and then you reap the benefit by receiving more money for that time. Number 2 is to apply for new jobs that we're going to review here shortly, which is going to drastically increase your take-home pay every single month. So jobs that focus on earnings and put the earnings potential in your hands. So things like sales or real estate. And of course, number 3, which is to invest that money into assets that pay you every single month. So those are the 3 main ways that you're going to increase the amount of money that you accumulate. So here are a couple side hustles that are tried and true, and they're not super unique or sexy or anything you guys haven't heard of, but they will put an extra $1,000 to $2,000 every single month in your pocket. Number 1, and honestly this has exploded during 2020 and 2021, but that is to drive around for a food delivery service. So Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, Postmates, any one of those, or even doing Instacart, where you get paid a small fee to do the delivery, and then you also get paid the majority of your take-home pay from that side hustle is in the form of tips. And I know several people that have done this and are currently doing this, and depending when you drive and what area you're in, they're experiencing anywhere from $15 to $25 per hour. So imagine just putting in 2 hours every single night, 7 days a week, or maybe doing 4 to 6 hours on the weekends. You guys can do the math, multiply that by, let's say, $20 an hour. That's how much money you can make by adopting one of these side hustles. Number two, which is the path I took for many years through college and even years post-college when I was getting into my first sales job and I wasn't getting paid very much at that job. I was working evenings and then weekends at a winery. And I also did bartending, hosting at restaurants, waiting tables, pretty much everything in the service industry. Both my wife and I have actually done for many years. And this is a great way to make a lot of cash in a short amount of time, especially if you are able to apply and work at a higher end or upscale restaurant or bar. So this is a tremendous way to earn extra cash and side hustle to help pad future investments. We could sit here all day and talk about the various side hustles. You guys can go out there, just do a simple Google search, figure out what side hustle makes most sense for you based on where you live and the skill set that you have. Now let's talk about something that's a little more important, which is to focus on your earnings from your W-2 job. So we're going to touch on a couple different jobs that you can either apply for and switch to, or you can do in conjunction with your current day job. Now, these are all jobs that you do not need 2 to 6 years of specialized schooling, like being a doctor, a lawyer, or something of the sorts where you have to go to medical school or law school. These are jobs that you can do on the job, learning and training. And while the income is going to be most likely pretty minimal at first, you guys are going to be able to take charge of your earnings by earning commissions based on the activities that you're doing at these jobs. So the more you put in, the more effort, not necessarily the more time all the times, but the more effort you put in, the more sales you bring in, the more money you are going to get paid. So it truly allows you to take greater control over your earnings. Number one, and this is the path I took, and honestly my wife ended up taking not too long ago, and this was to join an industry that you can be a sales rep at. So for me, it was the tech industry. I knew nothing about tech. I still feel like that sometimes. And I was making very little money at the start, and I was making cold calls every single day. Now, don't look at this as the end-all be-all in your first job. Sometimes you may even have to take a pay cut to get into a space where you can drastically increase your earnings over the next couple of years. Now, you're able to get a quick promotion. I was able to get promoted within 7 months, and then I was an inside sales rep, and then I applied for a different job a year later, and each year rather, if I wasn't increasing my earnings potential or making more money, I was looking for a new job at that time until ultimately I was able to land a field sales rep position and drastically boost the amount of money that I was able to earn. Now the second option, if you want to, you can become a real estate agent. It does take a little bit of training. You have to pass an exam, which costs a little bit of money. But when you become an agent, you guys can have ultimate control of your income. You're going to be more than likely commission only, but with the housing market as hot as it is right now, especially if you can sell to investors who are likely going to come back for more properties and also introduce you to other investors, you guys are likely going to get typically a 2 to 3% commission on the overall sales price of every house. So whether you're representing the buyer, the seller, or both in some cases, you guys are going to get a nice commission for each house that you sell. If you're a successful real estate agent, you could be making very high 6 figures, sometimes 7 figures a year. You guys can also get into wholesaling, which honestly you could probably do on the side from your day job, and many of you guys can do this from a computer in your closet at home. Wholesaling, you essentially find distressed properties or sellers rather that are looking to get rid of a property quickly, and then you offer to buy it cash. You get them to sign a contract, and then you take that contract and go assign it to a buyer, which is ultimately going to buy that property. Now, the price at which you get the seller to agree to sell it for is a little bit lower, or some cases a lot lower, than what the buyer agrees to pay it for. So a portion of the difference is your take home in the form of an assignment fee. So wholesaling, you can make so much money. There are people making 7 figures a year doing wholesale only. Now, it is a grind at the start. So you guys are going to have to put in the time and effort in order to build up your contacts, relationships, learn the process. But if you're willing to put in that work, you could even do this as a full-time job and make a boatload of money. Also, you get a great way to network with tons of real estate professionals in the world, especially on the investor side. Number 4 is to start some type of online business or build your own personal brand on social media. There are endless amounts of revenue streams or income streams for you guys on either of these platforms, whether you start an online business or it's an actual personal brand. This is something that I've started to do in the past 12 months, and I'm finally starting to see some pretty significant rewards. Just remember, you should be passionate about whatever you're doing. For example, me here on YouTube or on TikTok, or building these various courses around real estate. There's tons of different ways that you can monetize, but if I wasn't passionate about it, I would be miserable doing this. Creating content can be very time consuming, especially if you're still working a day job. You're gonna have a lot of late nights, work on the weekends. But if you enjoy it, the earnings potential is exponential, because it may be zero or very minimal for the first 6 to 12 months. But once you guys hit that point where you start getting a pretty nice following, you can make tons of different money through ads, through affiliate marketing, through selling, merchandise, through selling courses, whatever it is that you are promoting, or something that you have found success in your own life. Share that with the world, and you could find ways to monetize on it. And I'll touch on one more strategy, which is you guys can co-host on Airbnb. And as a co-host, you can do this in your own time. You don't have to change careers in order to do this by any standard. You can reach out to current Airbnb owners or hosts and offer to manage their property for a small percent of the revenue. So especially if they're paying a property management company traditionally like 30 or 40% of revenue, you can offer 10 to 15%, or even offer to do it for free for a couple of months and then 15% thereafter. It's a great way for you guys to learn the Airbnb world and start making a really good amount of money. Especially if you find someone who will let you co-host, it'll be easier to get the next one and the next one after that, as you build up some experience and build up a network within the real estate world. So think about this. You guys are able to side hustle. You're able to take control of your earnings at your full-time day job, and you're budgeting and saving money. You're not drastically increasing the amount of money you spend or your lifestyle per se. As your earnings increase, you remain relatively frugal. So that is going to expedite your path to grow a sum of money to deploy into investments or assets that are going to pay you monthly. And then once you do that, let's take, for example, you invest in an Airbnb property, a short-term vacation rental. Once you invest in that property, that could be paying you hundreds, but more than likely thousands of dollars in cash flow every single month. So now you have this asset and your job or your side hustle all paying you every single month. Now that you have money coming in from multiple different sources, including this asset over here, it's going to allow you to more quickly invest in the next property or the next investment vehicle. And once you guys have two investments or assets paying you monthly, and your day job and or side hustle, all of a sudden you're going to be able to acquire more assets in a shorter amount of time. And once you build up enough of those assets that are cash flowing, that exceed your monthly living expenses and or lifestyle, remember, now you're financially free. So what would you guys do at that point? You could ditch the side hustle, maybe even ditch your day job if you don't enjoy it and just want to travel or spend more time with your family, or just focus on the investments, or maybe focus now on a personal brand and helping other people online do the same thing. So the possibilities are honestly endless. Just remember, save more, and more importantly, focus on your earnings. And then the last pillar to achieve financial freedom is to invest that money. But that is how we earn more money every single year. I hope you guys found some value in this video. If you did, please do me a favor, hit the like button below. If you want to follow along for future content, all things personal finance, financial freedom, Airbnb investing, and other great information, some travel vlogs as well, subscribe and follow along. I appreciate the support very much. And if you want to see all the other resources that I provide, I'll drop a link in the description below. And then for those that are very interested in the Airbnb investing side of the house, I did finally complete the course that many of you requested I do. It's called Airbnb Investor Academy. I mentioned at the end of the video, I'm not doing this video to promote that course, but a lot of people have been asking about it on various social platforms, so it will be in that link provided below. So feel free to check it out. If you guys click that link, you will see the entire course curriculum. So it's out there if you're interested. I think it's a one-stop shop. If you guys know nothing about Airbnb, it'll take you from ground zero to expert investor, and you guys will start cash flowing very, very quickly after taking that program. Thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you got some value from it, and I hope to see you again sometime soon.